What up, what up? So, what up, V? I'm actually going to unmute everybody. One second. I'll do this. Jeez. Unmute. All right. How's everyone doing?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's up, Al?
What is good? What is
David,
good?
Harrison, Kevin. I'm guessing Joanne. It's all good. You don't have to talk if that's not what you're here to do. But, for the most part, obviously, I just wanted to go ahead and see how many people are actually up during London session right now. Like, obviously, there's not a lot of people that are up. We got 10 people that are getting on currently right now. And as you guys might know, and this is just a quick introduction, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. As you guys might know, with this subscription and the way that I've always been with my trainings, my webinars, and everything like that, it's always been something where, hey, guys, freaking communicate, like ask questions. What's up, Cameron? How you doing, brother? Always communicate, man. Like, talk in the group, bro. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to give people praise if they're doing really good, because there will be people in here that are doing really good. Obviously this is a Signals group, okay, for the people that are subscribed to the Signals group. And, again, I appreciate every single person that's supporting, like really, really do. And as you guys might know, I am no longer a part of the Trade Academy. As one of the founders, I just went ahead and decided to take a step down. And mainly because, and I'll make a public announcement on it tomorrow on IG Live as well. But mainly because, again, it comes down to the way that things were being taught. And, every time I did show something, I was always looked upon, hey, you can't be showing that. Don't do that. It's, whatever. Yeah. And for me, we just had two different ideas of how to operate a business once we came into Las Vegas when we moved from LA to here. So decided to go ahead and make a change and go ahead and start my own program. And as long a lot of you guys know, because I've talked to you guys on the phone already, the Signals group that we're doing, obviously $97 a month. It's going to be well worth it, because not only are we going to be doing webinars like this, and I'm going to make sure that we get a set time for it. Just bear with me. I will get a set time for when we will do this. I just thought, during London session, then, it's probably the best time to do it. Yeah, sure, it's midnight and whatnot, but or 1 o'clock, but I think it is the best time to do something like this. And two, it is going to be Signals. It's going to be a mixture of where I believe the market's going to be rolling to, and I'm going to tell you exactly where to enter at, exactly where to exit at, exactly where the take profit should be, whether we're in a trade and I think that we need to pull our position off right now, or whether we need to hold on to it or not. And another thing that we're working on is an AI system. That's something that Alan's working on, one of my partners, and we've been doing this for months. We're working on a system where it'll automatically find algorithms in this market and pick up on that and automatically tell you where to enter and exit a trade at. Okay, so we're working on a lot of things here, guys. So this $97 monthly subscription is well worth it, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that has hopped on. All right, and again, do not be afraid to talk in this group, man. I really want to create a very tight Forex community here, and the only way that's going to happen is with you guys. It's not just with me. It's going to be with you guys. And you guys are a start. And basically, I've always had my chat box, always had my chat box the most interactive when I was with the Trade Academy. And I definitely want to bring that over to here as well. And maybe it'll take some time. Maybe it'll take some time for you guys to open up and communicate in here, because you guys are brand new. And that's okay. But do not be afraid to ask questions in this chat box and whatnot. So anyways, let's go ahead and I do want to make it interactive. So, if people want to unmute their mic and ask questions while their mic is unmuted, I think that'd be more than fine right now, especially since we don't have a lot of people. But once we move over to like having hundreds of subscribers, I don't really think that having everybody unmuted would be the best way of doing it. But as of now, we don't have that many subscribers on here right now. So make sure if you guys have a question, you can either say it in the chat box or feel free to openly communicate through here as well. So one of the things that we obviously do on webinars is going to be educational purposes, kind of where we feel like the market is, where it's going, and things of that nature. And it's going to help you guys out in the long run, because there's students, for example, that know, hey, like, I know that this is a fib retracement. I know this is coming into the region of wanting to take a sell position, which we are looking for a sell position here. And it will be sent out to the signal group once it's ready. But, obviously people know this stuff already. So it's like, well, what am I already learning? What am I learning? Am I learning anything new? The thing is, look, even though you might know this, there's so many of you guys that are still very brand new and still haven't found consistency. If you guys know this, the thing is, this is just that extra confirmation that's going to help you give you that boost, that confidence that's going to allow you to become a better, consistent trader. And if a group chat or a signal group or these webinars can help with doing that, then it's well worth it, even if you feel like you already know this information, right? It's that extra confirmation for you to gain that confidence in the market. Now, one of the first things that I kind of want to go over is, why did sorry, let me go ahead and read this question. So will the webinars be about what confirmations line to take trades you sent out as signals, or will it be about something else? It'll be about that, and it'll be about a lot of other things too. There's only so much that you guys could talk about in trading, right? So I always found a topic, whether it be, every time I did my webinars, I always found a topic, whether it was doing market breakdowns, or whether it was really talking about psychology, guys. I always found something to talk about with you guys, just because I have about 8 years of experience now. So there's always something for me to talk about with you. But overall, first thing that we'll dive into is, I'm sure you guys have noticed something different about my charts, right? What do you guys think is different? I don't use MAs. I don't need MAs. Exactly. The candlestick colors. Okay. The candlestick colors here are different, because one thing that I do is I go ahead and one of the things that a lot of students lack is the ability to find time to backtest. I go to this tool right here and I backtest for hours. Like I'm sitting, I got a brand new computer here anyways. And by the way, can you guys see this screen all right? Because this is an ultra wide monitor. So on your screen, it might show up as really thin. I don't want it to be of inconvenience to you guys. Tell me if you guys can see the charts properly or not. Just let me know, give me a thumbs up or something. Looks good. Thank you. What screen monitor do you have? So this is an Asus. Thank you, Omar. This is the Asus 49-inch ultra wide monitor. Okay, and I love this thing so much, just because there's so many different things I could do with it. I could go here, and this isn't cluttered for me. Because I could look at 4 different charts at once, and it's not cluttered for me. Like on my normal laptop screen, it would be. But yeah, it's an ultra wide monitor. Okay, good. So as long as everybody can see this clearly, awesome. But one of the things that a lot of students lack is the ability to find the time to go ahead and backtest, right? So I find the time to do it. If I could find the time to do it, and I've been doing this for 8 years, you guys can find the time to do it too. And especially when you guys are up around these times, it's the perfect time to freaking do it. Okay. So with one of the things I was doing, I was back testing, and I was looking at different market patterns and what strategies work best with these market patterns. And I'm trying to go ahead and figure out like breaking a certain code. And then I started to have this question pop up in my head because I kept opening up new charts. And the question that came to mind, I'm like, why is the default color green and red? Why is that the default color? Why is that the default color, not just only for Forex, but for stocks, for crypto, for options, for futures, for contracts, for commodities? Why is that the default color? Why is green and red the chosen color that everybody uses? And it's weird to even ask myself that question because I never questioned myself that for years. So it's like, okay, why is it this color? And I started questioning it. And then it kind of just like flipped for me. I was like, shit, I know marketing. I had a marketing agency before. We do marketing. I understand how it works. I understand color schemes. So let me go ahead and show you guys a quick website here on what color schemes do for on how it has an effect and influence on people. Okay, so you can see the color red. Okay, it creates a sense of urgency. Okay, which is usually good for clearance sales, encourages appetite, thus is frequently used by fast food chains, physically stimulates the body, raising blood pressure and heart rate associated with movement, excitement, and passion. So maybe you guys, because the one thing that I want to work on, I'm really good with, being very patient in the market, but sometimes I still have the feeling, I'll still have that feeling of like, shit, it's a red candle, it's moving. And I'll have that feeling, but I hold myself back from it. I'm like, okay, how can I get better at that? And then I started looking at the actual colors of the candles. And one thing that I noticed was, hey, like red does create this sense of urgency. So maybe you guys have experienced this before, wherever, there was a red candlestick and you guys started to feel this impulsive behavior of like, dude, I need to get in the market right freaking now. Right. And that's what the color red does. It creates that sense of urgency. Okay. Green. Okay. Associated with health, tranquility, power, and nature. Used in stores to relax customers and promoting environmental issues. Green stimulates harmony in your brain and encourages a balance leading to decisiveness. This is the word right here. A balance leading to decisiveness. Decisiveness, what that means, so you guys can look at the definition. To the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively. That is the definition of decisiveness. Now, with that being said, if green is something that helps, it gives you the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively, understand that you might feel like you are making a decisive decision. You might feel like, that green candle, bullish engulfing, you're effectively taking a trade there. But the markets know that. The markets know that. And they know that you're thinking that already, and think that green candlestick is where, hey, I'm going to take a trade right there. Okay. And you kind of, disregard a lot of the other stuff that's happening. You have to look to the left, see what's happening. So one of the things that I did was that I went and basically changed the colors to blue and white. And with blue, gives you a calming kind of like, you're just kind of calm. And white, it helps with like just, overall purity, balance of just like being there. And that's why I chose these colors. So if you guys don't have these colors, you don't have to change it to this. If you want, I looked into the other color schemes, orange, yellow, and stuff like that. I found that blue and white were the best ones when it comes to having this as a color scheme for your trading. So if you guys want to go ahead and change this, I would highly, blue for bulls, white for bears. I could go ahead and show you guys what I have right here. I have the darkest blue down here. And for white, I actually have the second to last white. okay? So that's for all of them. So if you want to change it to that, you can change it to that. Let me know when you guys are good. I don't think it should take you guys that long. Right. Next thing, fibs did the same thing. I kept these orange. As you can see that I changed the colors to basically kind of the same-ish color scheme of that. I kept these the same color as take profit zone, so that way, you know, it gives you that sense of urgency of you know, pulling out of the market. Okay, so somewhat sense of urgency there. Also, do you have an opinion on having white or black background? I like black. I trade in the dark sometimes. So a white background just blinds me. You know, so I like to have the freaking, I like it black, dude. I like it dark. And you could go to color thing here. Yeah, it's easy on the eyes, right? You could go to dark. And you can see that there. Right? Now, okay. Now, overall, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're kind of trying to spot here in this market. Okay, the GBP NZD is a trade that we're looking to send a signal on. Okay, now we can see what has happened here. Can anybody take a guess what's happening here? Like I said, I like to have people participate so that way I know you guys are alive in this market. It's a London session, so you guys need to be alive. What are we waiting for? What's happening here? Anybody? Right, good. Break of structure. What else? Pullback. Good. Kevin, answering everything. Good job. Guys, don't be freaking afraid communicating there. Good. Good job, David. Head and shoulders as well. Okay. Head and shoulders as well. All right. Now, on a daily time frame, we can see that we're having a break of structure. So right here in this area, break of structure, and we can see that we're pulling back. Okay. We're pulling back. Now, what tool do we use for pullbacks? Fibs. Exactly. So we could take our fib from this wick to this wick, and we could kind of see where our area of interest is, right? Where's our area of interest? Our area of interest is at the 61, 70, 78. Sure, 50% is valid during break of structures, but we're going to change the rules a little bit. You know, the rules that we're going to go ahead and change is that we're going to make it to where it's 61.8, 71, or 78.6, okay? So that's what we're going to make it. So we can trade off of 50% if there's quite a bit of confluence in that area, but we don't necessarily want to do so if we don't feel like it might be potentially taking a move from there. Now, I did go ahead and send a alert for this, right? But, and I'll show you guys why I sent an alert for this. But another thing that you guys can highlight is that you don't just look here. Okay, you guys don't just look here. Sure, it's giving you guys some, you know, pullback. Obviously, on the bigger time frame, you see that it's coming in, testing this pullback, this break of structure area. But what we really want to start to consider, guys, is the support and resistance. Okay, that's what we really want to start to take a look into. And we can see a really good resistance here. Okay, we can see a wicked up in this area, and we can see that there's a resistance here. You can see that it wicked right here too. Let me go ahead and zoom in. It wicked right here too. Okay, let me go ahead and draw this, actually. I'll draw it for you guys on this horizontal array. There. So here, okay, there's that. We can see that it broke through, retested with the daily, right? We go to the left, or the right, sorry. You can see that it hit that area and it had a pretty massive move down. You can see that it came up here, hit this area, had to move down. You can see that it kind of held up in this area for a bit, broke through, use it as support for a little bit, broke through a few times, and then came down, okay? Now, this is also an area that we're choosing because it's at a 61.8. So we go to a 4 hour, and we can start to see, yes, it's at that 50%, right? It's coming into certain areas right here. Okay, we see resistance, support, 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 resistance. So can it go down from here? Sure. Yes, it could come down from here. But if it comes down from here, we have no loss. We're fine because we're out of the market now. Now, one of the reasons on a 1 hour why I sent out a key level yesterday or in the morning for this, I mean, there's about 76 pips caught, okay, when I sent this one this morning. Okay, 76 pips that were caught coming to the downside. And that's because you can see on a 1 hour, there's a mini head and shoulders. Can you guys see it? Mini head and shoulders happening. So if we wanted to wick that, or fib that, came into our 71% region. Now, if you guys don't have a 71% fib, that's because, you know, you guys might not have been taught about this, but there's a middle range between the 61 and the 78. That's the 71, okay? Came into that head and shoulder. Obviously, there's resistance in this area, and that's why this trade signal was given out. And look where it came down to, our take profit zone, our negative 27, negative 61. Came into the area to go ahead and secure our profits. Now, one of the things that we're looking at is it to come up here. Okay, now what is this near? Okay, price point wise, what price point is it basically near? This is actually a new one for you guys. A lot of you guys don't know this, and if you guys do, great job. Somebody take a guess. Great job. Good job. Yes, psych level. Yes, whole level. That's what it's coming to. Now, why? What is a psych level? Psych level is basically levels like this, 2.0, just flat. 2.5, flat. 2.01, flat. 2.005, flat. You know, those are basically areas that are psych levels. And the reason why those areas have a significant importance is because most people right now think that the banks are trading this physically. Okay? They think that the banks are currently trading this right now. That is not the case. Banks have actually also set up an algorithm in AI, just like we're working on one right now for the, that's what they operate off of. They operate off of whole levels, okay? Whole levels and half levels, quarter levels as well, okay? That's what they operate off of. And the algorithm, think about a computer system, especially a big one that's moving massive amounts of money around. It makes it easier for that system to go ahead and not have some random number like this, 99387, right? Not have a random number like that, but to place it at areas that are whole, okay? That are those whole levels, that are those half levels, that are those quarter levels. It makes it easier, okay? And it's easier on the AI for it to put its algorithm-based things there. So that's what it's doing, okay? So that's why this area is an area of significance, because as soon as it comes into this area, around the 2.0, we're going to be looking to take some trades, okay? And I'll send a key level, okay? I'll send an alert. I'll send it to the signal group whenever we see something, right? Now, let's go to 1 hour again. See this? Again, it looks like it's moving downward, Okay, that's what it looks like. Looks like it's this little head and shoulders. It looks good coming into another area of resistance, right over here. But it throwing wicks like this just kind of gives me, you guys have to start to be aware. When it's throwing wicks at a certain high point, sure. But when it's throwing wicks like this, yeah, it could go down, right? But you guys got to start to be cautious. What do you think banks are doing here when people are seeing these wicks? Yep. They're enticing sellers. They're getting people to want to sell positions in this market. Okay. That's what they're doing. And by all means, yeah, sure, it could potentially, go down. But we have to start thinking like how banks think. What are banks doing here? They're getting sellers to want to go ahead and take a position. Let's see what it looks like with a fib on a 1 hour. Well, it's within our range. Okay. And if you look closely, use the replay button, we can see that it was wicking into that 61 multiple times. So it's enticing people to want to take, and if you guys looked at that really quick, just watch very closely on what happened here. How many people do you think probably might have entered when it did that? When it spiked down really quick because they're like, oh shit, it's moving, it's going down. Sellers, right? Sellers are are getting involved into the market. Let's see if I can catch that one too. Doesn't let me, whatever. So it's enticing those sellers. Okay, so what we're gonna wait for, and what we need to wait for, is some manipulation to occur, which is breaking above these highs. Okay, as soon as it does that, then we could potentially be looking for sell side positions. One thing that's gonna make it very clear to you guys is using this trend line. You can see that it's still an upward trend. Okay. Overall, this thing should go down. By looking at daily structure, market structure is one of the most important things that people, kind of do not take into consideration when it comes to trading quite a bit. But market structure, as soon as this thing wants to load, market structure is one of the most important things that a lot of students like actually, I guess you could say, they miss. Okay, they take less importance of the position, right? And they just go and take trades based off of fibs. Okay, and I could have taken a trade based off of fib just this way, but I didn't because I understood market structure. Okay, this thing is not loading. There we go. Reload. Okay, so that's what it's doing here. Okay, we're waiting for this to pull back some more up into these areas and probably have our stop loss somewhere arranged around here. Obviously there's some resistance there, so maybe a little bit higher, but we're gonna basically place our stop losses here. So be very aware of these areas. Okay, another one, GA. That thing is moving right now, bro. So waiting for GA to kind of like break these highs a little bit. Yeah, break those highs. And currently we are at that 78.6. Okay, go to a 4 hour. Understanding structure, we might move up to here. It's somewhere around this range. Okay, somewhere around this range, we might move up there. And By doing so, it's going to give us a proper area to go ahead and take an entry at. Maybe even do a double top. Okay, maybe even do a double top up here and then move its way down. But as soon as it's ready, then we will go ahead and let you guys know, like, hey, it's ready. You know, so we could go ahead and see on a 4-hour, we could clearly see on a 4-hour that it did break, right? It did break this trend, you could say, right? If we look at just kind of like overall, I guess, we don't necessarily like cutting through candles, but there is all this, there's this trend line. This is like a nice move if it comes down to here, okay? But if we base it off of like this right here, it's also broken. Normally you don't want to cut through candles, okay? But this one is very clear representation of that it's broken in existing trend and it's doing a pullback, okay? Right? NZD, I did have something for NZD set up. So NZD USD, as you guys can see, I have an alert system set up here. It'll most likely come down to here and we're going to be seeing some upside momentum as well. Okay. Now, with this upside, we can go ahead and see that we're going to be entering into the 71, 78.6 region. Okay. And the reason why we're looking at this area is, again, we want to go ahead and take into consideration on what's to the left. This is why I got an ultra-wide monitor, because I can do this. I don't have to scroll, and I can see present time, and I can see all of this stuff that's happening. So we can see here kind of where this green line is if we move to the left. Look where the crosshairs kind of match up. Okay, crosshairs match up. Here, let me just draw. Take a look. Resistance. Resistance. Support. Support, support, support. All this support back here. Okay, granted, this isn't really loading, but I'm not saying that you have to go back this far, but there is support. Obviously it broke through a little bit, but support. I mean, that's really far back. I'm not saying you have to go back that far, but that's why this area was chosen for a potential move to the upside. Okay, now obviously we can also see this trend line, right? So there's a lot of confirmation that's coming into play here, and this could be a potential, very nice potential swing trade, not even necessarily a day trade. This could be something where we go for, a couple hundred pips. We could go for 250 pips potentially. Okay. So other than that, for people that are on this webinar, like, what questions do you guys have? Because it is, like I said, London session, and usually during London session, people are looking at something. They're looking at something, and they want to get some questions answered and stuff like that. So, what questions can I answer for you guys? Right. So Euro UD, I was looking at that too. And as much as I want to take a trade to the downside, as much, these right here, do not worry about these. All right. These right here are, it's the AI that we're working on. It's not necessarily indicators. It's something that I have put onto this chart, and they are basically settings for the AI. Okay, that took us months to come up with. Okay, so I don't currently have it on the chart right now because obviously that would not be the smartest thing to do, you know, because we're still working on the AI. Okay, so overall, right here, we can go ahead and see that, yes, we're coming into a very nice zone. Of resistance, right? And we can obviously see this area too. Okay, so it's a nice area, and we could be potentially looking for some downside here. However, because it's at a point where it's not necessarily trending, it's just moving back and forth. Because it's doing that, I don't necessarily want to take a trade on it. I don't want to send a signal for it, because what confirmation do I have other than the fact that it's at a 50%, not even a 61? You know, it's not a break of structure or anything. The fact that all it is a point of resistance, and is showing some sign of exhaustion up here, which if I was, you know, and I'm not saying that it can't move down from here, right? But if I was a bank, this candle would entice me to want to go ahead and take a sell, right? But over here, we don't see any of that happening, right? You know, like granted this one, but this right here, I can see what it did here. It, if you guys look, triggered buy orders and, you know, got people in on buys, and then it came back down, closed them out, you know, might have stopped people out, and then triggered sells and then pulled it right back up. You know, like they're playing around, you know, they're playing with you right now. And it is also at it's staying below a pull level. Okay, it's staying below that, which is a good sign for some downside momentum. Would I want to take a trade on this right now? Probably not. Okay, I wouldn't want to take a trade on it to the downside as of now. And like I said, it could definitely move to the downside. Not saying that it can't. And you can have and the crazy thing is about this, you can have a very tight stop loss too on this. You know, so if you wanted to take the risk of doing so, of taking a trade here, you know, you could really have a pretty tight, you know, stop if you wanted to. Not even this, and obviously it's Euro UD, so you have to take that into consideration. You know, so 35 pips for 161, you know, gain or more, because from the looks of what it does is it'll come into these lows. So there's a potential for 173 or 306. So a 1 to 4.8 ratio or a 1 to 8.7 ratio. That can happen on this trade. Or you take a loss. Okay. Those are the options. But what else? What else? What else? Should I unmute everyone? All right. Everyone's unmuted. So if you guys want to go ahead and communicate anything, you guys can. Damn, everyone's dead during London session, huh? Come on, guys. Come on. All right, what questions do you guys have? Come on. I'm pretty new still. Well, then, Cameron, you should be the one asking the most questions, brother. if you're new here. You know, maybe you don't know what questions to ask. You know, is another thing. But so I mean, here's the thing. That's that right there. Cameron being you guys, this is why it's helpful for other people to ask questions, because for new people like this, it helps them. You know, and it helps you with answering any questions that you have. For example, Leo. For example, Leo was just here earlier. Me and him were just talking. We were kicking it, and we were just looking at the charts, discussing like things that are happening in the market. And you know, Leo, months ago, I did a webinar, and I remember this day because this is where things changed big time for him for his risk, his win ratio. Somebody else named Natalia. Okay, yeah, Leo is a beast, man. He's a fucking savage, you know. And you guys should definitely check his stuff out too. You know, and but basically he it was a webinar, and this lady named Natalia asked the question on risk management. I answered the question, but guess who benefited from it more than Natalia did? Leo. You know, and Leo after that had like his win ratio went up to over 70%. Okay, now it's even higher, but it's the fact that somebody else asked the question and he benefited from it. So you guys not asking questions, just think of that as, you know, if you don't have questions, I understand, you know, whatever. But you guys not asking questions, when you have it, it's in a way, think of it as it being selfish, because that question can help somebody else, right? So, questions. And in the meantime, while you guys are, you know, thinking of questions and whatnot, we'll go to gold. Gold, I take in a trade on. Whoa, whoa, something's about to happen here. Yeah. And as you guys might know, I also trade cryptocurrencies as well. Okay. So Bitcoin, just so you guys know where I'm at with Bitcoin and whatnot, I have entries all the way down here. And as I have entries down there, I'm riding it up. And I have multiple scaling entries, even all the way up here, because I'm very bullish on Bitcoin right now. Okay, now gold. Gold, I had a really good night with last night, and it dropped a good amount. And if you guys seen this on my Instagram, then you guys were able to see, you know, how did I catch this? Well, overall, long term, I am bullish with gold, but I just used certain things such as the fib. I used the fib, came to 61. Not only that, you can see here, it came into an area of resistance. Now gold, oh, awesome guys, you guys are asking questions. So I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna look at those questions right now. So overall, looking here, there was a lot of resistance in this area.
I guess I'll hop off the meeting and give you what you want.
Is that Tony?
Yes, that's him. I'm here.
All right, brother. I was like, what'd you say? I was like, what you saying right now, bro? All right, so here we can see Yeah, gold's on the mission. We could see that it was being held up quite a bit. I took sell positions up here just because it already hit this point of resistance, 61.8. As soon as it broke through this area, which now became a break of structure, as soon as it came back and pulled back up, I took another entry to the downside, hit my TP. But all that was used here simply because gold reacts a lot to supply and demand. You know, think about it. It's a commodity, supply and demand. It's a pretty, you know, duh. Okay, it's an actual commodity, right? So now, God, yeah. Sorry, I'm yawning now. Shit. CAD yen, I took a buy down here last night. Now, looking at CAD yen, there's certain things to really take a look at here. Okay. I took a short-term buy, right? But we kind of have to look at a few things, you know. One, I took a buy because it hit this area, and there was some good support, resistance, support in this area, right? However, and then there was the trend line, but it kind of broke through the trend line. However, you have to take into consideration market structure. It's the most important thing. Most important thing, man. Look at this. It broke. Big candles. Broke. Okay. Then you see that. It's coming back into kind of making a little move off there right now. Okay. Also, it's at a 50%. I wouldn't necessarily call it, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say 61. It's not at a 61. But this could have, I do believe that there might be a little bit of a deeper retracement in this, meaning more to the upside. I just need some more confirmation here to want to take it to the upside because I already had a, shit, am I selling this? Hold on. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I forgot to put a stop profit in, so one of my CAD yen trades is still in, but it's still in profit. No big deal. My trades were taken down here. So, you know, if it comes down here, great. I am planning for it to retrace a little bit because if we look here, we can see that it's dropped. I'm planning for a retracement somewhere in this range. Retracement up here, drop. That's what I'm planning for. So yeah, you could be 100% right for this to be a buy. Okay. And it actually, it does look good. You know, I would just wait. If you're going to take a buy here, I would wait for it to do a proper retracement into the 61 or the 78. That's what I would wait for. Okay. AUD Swiss is the low, is at the lowest. You think it's going to buy? Let's take a look. On AUD Swiss. Huh. This right here, same thing. Same thing as Euro AUD, right? You guys can kind of see this thing happening here, correct? We've been moving in a downward structure. And what I feel like can happen here is I hate invalidating people's way of thinking because I see what you're seeing and you're not wrong, Shannon. Or sorry, Sasha. I looked at Shannon. Sasha, you're not wrong. But we have to really take a look at the fact of what banks are doing. Okay, banks could be here manipulating people to want to go ahead and take positions to the upside, and it could go to the downside. Okay. Now, one thing that I do see that can happen here is that if price comes into this region, and actually hangs out there, slows down, okay, and slows down, because I'll be looking at that too. Remember, markets are changing. They're not always like, oh, it's 100% this. Markets are changing, and we got to go ahead and change with it. Okay, my overall idea is that I think it's gonna probably do some manipulation, break through all this, and then move on up. Once it's to stop people out and then got sellers involved, then I think it's gonna pull on up. But if it comes into this area and starts to hang out here and gives us a good little price action, then then we'll go ahead and potentially take a buy setup there. Okay, that's what we'll do. In the meantime, what do we do? Anyone could say it. What do we do in the meantime? Wait. Exactly. Good. Good. Okay. There's nothing to compare it to in the past, so it's kind of risky. It'd just be nice long term if it finds out. Yeah. We always paint those pictures in our mind. We'll go back to 600. I believe you're talking about gold. Any suggestion on my first brokerage account? I've only traded demo. Well, Shannon, on my end, personally, I can't give you recommendations of brokers, but I'll tell you what I use. I use Forex.com, okay, and I also use KOT for higher leverage, higher risk trading. All right. Thoughts on AU? Let's take a look. Man. Yeah, I haven't really been sleeping, guys. So shit. Huh. Whew. Okay. So it really depends on how this candle closes. This candle right here. Because look. Check this out. So we have these lows, right? What we can see here is that it's wicked past that low and then closed right on back up. And it's the bodies of the candles that we're looking at, right? So it wicked literally 23 pips, nothing crazy. But it wicked down there, closed right on back up above this low. What that says is that this could have been the manipulation already. Meaning that, yes, we could be seeing some upside here. Okay, we could be seeing some upside there. However, the way this daily candle looks is that it's going down. Okay, the way the daily candle looks, and this right here just looks very nice, to take as a buy, correct? But I would say hold off on it for now, just because the area of the market where it's at, I would say that this thing is going to fall a bit. Okay. Now, if this daily candle closes, again up here, rather than how it is right now, we're most likely not going to be trading AU tonight. Most likely, unless it gives me some really good reason on why I should. But we most likely won't be trading AU. And we also have to take into consideration the fact that we have news.